In this case, in the case of zero divisor graph, we have taken the product of elements as the condition for joining the edges. And of course, in contrast to that, today we are going to see a class of graphs constructed out of another operation in the commutative ring, namely addition. Just for the sake of warm up, I say R is a commutative ring. Z of R is a set of all zero divisors of R. Z star of R is a non-zero zero divisors. Nil of R is the set of all nilpotent elements of R. Regular means an element which is not a zero divisor is supposed to be referred as regular. An element having multiplicative inverse is called a unit in R, and the set of all units is denoted by U of R. As I mentioned yesterday, the set of all zero divisors is not closed under addition. Of course, one of the important substructure of rings is nothing but subring, and more generally an ideal. And suppose you take a subset of a commutative ring, it is an ideal if it is a subgroup with respect to addition, and elements by left multiplication and right multiplication are elements of that subset. Because we are considering commutative rings, the left and right are one and the same. Okay. As I have given an example, you take the set of all zero divisors of congruent modulo 6 classes. Literally they are 0, 2, 3, 4. Of course, 2 plus 3 is not an element here, thereby it is not closed with respect to addition. As just now I mentioned, a subset becomes an ideal with respect to certain conditions. One can note that the zero divisors satisfy all conditions of an ideal except closure under addition. Once if it is become closed under addition, it becomes an ideal. For example, you take congruent modulo 9 classes. The set of all zero divisors are 0, 3, 6. And of course, it is an ideal in this one. And not only it is an ideal, it is a prime ideal. Okay. As I mentioned at the beginning, there are graphs constructed from addition part of the commutative. The motivation for this particular concept is drawn from the very famous construction of Cayley graphs from finite groups. As I mentioned yesterday, this construction was made in 1878 by Arthur Cayley from a finite group. Of course, at the time it was not called as a graph, it was called as a pictorial representation of groups. In fact, as Professor Vijay Kumar mentioned, the term of graph was coined a little bit later. You take a finite group, a subset of a finite group is said to be a generating set, provided every element in this group is a product of elements in the generating set. Of course, you recall that in the case of cyclic groups, the generating set contains a single element. And apart from the condition of generating elements of the group, the Cayley graph generating set satisfies the following two conditions. The generating set should not contain identity element. And of course, whenever an element is there, its inverse should also be there. So you take a finite group, take a generating set, assume that these two properties are true for the generating set. And once you have a group and the generating set is satisfying conditions of C1 and C2, that is, identity element is not there, it is symmetric in the sense that Whenever an element A is there, invert should also be there. Then we define a graph called Kelly graph corresponding to the pair gamma comma omega. The vertex set of the Kelly graph is the full group gamma, and edge set is this. Two elements are joined by an edge. X and Y are elements of the group. They are joined provided they satisfy the condition that Y is equal to XA for some A in omega. Of course, people can remember that the Cayley's theorem, every finite group can be embedded in a symmetric group. And in this visualization or in that mapping, you associate for every element A, the mapping FA, and FA of X is AX or XA according to the composition which you take it. So whenever in mathematics this XA or AX is involved, that is called regular representation, and in fact that is always referred by the name of Cayley because of that particular theorem. So you take a finite group generating set, and we have mapped a graph by taking the full group as the vertex set, and edges are created by this way. And of course it is denoted by Cayley of gamma comma omega in order to indicate what is the input for the Cayley graph. Of course, this was the first construction from an algebraic structure. As I mentioned, this particular Cayley graph is used as routing network in parallel computing, and there are certain standard Cayley graphs, and they are used still now in parallel computers with Bell Laboratories and similar organizations. Of course, the very important property about this Cayley graph is it is vertex transitive. You see now vertex transitive property is being implemented due to Corona. You see all people are most of the people in the IT industry are work at home. So the people have shifted. The problem is shifted to various places of stay. So that is what vertex transitivity. Without any affecting the work can be transferred from one node to the other through an automorphism, that is vertex transitive. And that vertex transitive attracts a very good study on this. And of course, it's still an unexplored area on many dimensions of graph theory. Incompatible to this or similar to this, Focus Electronic Journal of Combinatorics in the year 2005, they have introduced a graph called Cayley graph of rings. More especially, if you take a commutative ring, take a subset C of R satisfying this condition. Please note that R plus is a group. Thereby, we consider the subset C satisfying the symmetric property with respect to addition, because the symmetric could be considered only when you have a inverse. In any commutative ring, you have got inverses of elements with respect to addition. Therefore, the symmetric property is being considered only with respect to addition, namely C equal to minus C. That means to say, whenever A is an element of C, minus C should also be an element of C. And once you have a pair R, commutative ring R, and a subset C, symmetric with respect to addition, the Cayley graph was constructed, Cayley of R comma C, for which the vertex set is full of R, and two elements are joined provided X minus Y is an element of C. Please recall that the earlier definition of an edge in the Cayley graph, Y equal to XA, you can put X inverse here. Therefore, Yx inverse equal to A. So X inverse, here the inverse is with respect to addition. Therefore, that Yx inverse becomes X minus Y or Y minus X. Therefore, X minus Y is an element of C. It is just a replica of the definition of the Cayley graph of a finite group. And of course, here one of the variation to be noted is we have not assumed C is a generating set of R plus. Of course, the assumption of generating set makes the Kelly graph as connected, but in this situation, we have not taken the C as a generating set of R plus, thereby there is no guarantee that this Kelly graph of rings is connected. Of course, it is a NP complete problem to find a generating set for a finite group. The fact is, generating set is one of the 2 power n subsets. Searching in 2 power n subsets is supposed to be regarded as an exponential algorithm. Thereby, it is a NP complete problem. Of course, there are only very minimum necessary and sufficient condition is available for that. Of course, you take this congruent modulo 5 classes, take 1 and 4. The inverse of 1 is 4, 4 is 1. Therefore, this 1 comma 4 is a symmetric generating set. With respect to this, taking all elements of the ring and joining by them. 1 minus 0, 1, which is an element here. 2 minus 1, 3 minus 2, 4 minus 3, 0 minus 4. And even if you take 0 minus 1, that is 4, it is there. So this is the literally Kelly graph of the finite group congruent modulo 5 classes with respect to addition modulo 5. But that can also be recognized as Kelly graph of a ring congruent modulo 5 classes with respect to addition modulo 5 and multiplication modulo 5. Of course, look at the another example. I consider Z9 congruent modulo 9 classes. My C is nothing but 3, 6. Of course, one can see that inverse of 3 is 6 and 6 is 3. Please look at this graph. Participants, kindly look a moment this Kelly graph and this one. Look at carefully. I think I am handicapped in asking a question at this moment. Even then, can anybody see that the difference of these two? Literally, here you please note that 0, 3 are adjacent because 3 minus 0 is 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. 0 minus 6 is 3. And if you carefully look into that, this graph is nothing but 3K3, 3C3. It is a cycle, 3 disjoint cycles. So it is not a connected graph, whereas this Kelly graph is connected. So as I mentioned earlier, this 1, 4 is a generating set of congruent modulo 5 classes with respect to addition modulo 5, whereas 3, 6 is not a generating set, even though it is symmetric for congruent modulo 9 classes with respect to addition modulo 5. Of course, you cannot write 1 in terms of 3 and 6. So there is no possibility. If you add the successive element here, it will become a generating set. So the Kelly graph of a finite commutative ring was constructed. Of course, it was well studied. One of the problems in mathematics is even in the group theory, finding automorphism group of a group. And it is a NP complete problem again. It is a subset of Sn because n factorial elements are there. And similarly, the automorphism group of the Kelly graph is also a complicated problem. Still now it is open on many classes of Kelly graphs, especially for non-commutative groups. For example, you take dihedral group, quaternion group, group of matrices. There are so many classical groups. In finite group theory, the term of classical groups refers only to the group of matrices. So they are the real elements of the mathematics. Matrix is a French word. The meaning is mother of mathematics. So it is a real representation of many of the objects in mathematics. And to find the automorphism group of a Kelly graph, it's a very complicated problem. Certain cases have been dealt through the automorphism group of a commutative ring, especially the ring of congruent modulo n classes. So that was the Kelly graph. You please look at the definition for adjacency. It is nothing but x minus y is an element of C, that is minus. And people Ashrafi et al. Communications and Algebra in the year 2010, they defined a graph called Cayley sum graph. Please note that let R be a commutative ring. Of course, the vertex set is R, and two element sum graph and Cayley graph are entirely different. For example, you look at this congruent modulo 5 classes Z5. I take C as 1, 2. So two elements are joined provided their sum is an element in 1, 2. 1 plus 0, 1, an element is here. 0 plus 2, 2 is here. 2 plus 4, 6, congruent modulo 5 classes, thereby 1 is there. 4 plus 3, congruent modulo 5, 2 is there. So this is the Cayley sum graph of congruent modulo 5 classes with respect to the subset 1, 2. Please recall or look at this Cayley graphs and look at this Cayley sum graph. Graph theoretically, you can just like visualize an difference between degrees of the vertices in the Cayley graph and Cayley sum graph. Of course, just from your memory, please recall that in the Cayley graph, the vertices are of equal degree. They are regular graphs. Of course, here this regularity is the degree is nothing but number of elements in the generating set. Here again, you please look at that degree is nothing but number of elements in the generating set. But whereas in this graph, it is not regular, it is biregular. Even that cannot be generalized. Therefore, graph theoretically, Cayley sum graph and Cayley graph have got two different paths. Of course, in the literature, Cayley graph of finite rings are a little bit studied when compared to, Cayley sum graph are a little bit studied compared to Cayley graphs. In my exposure, there are about 5 or 6 papers only appeared in Cayley sum graph so far. So please note that why I have emphasized Cayley graph and Cayley sum graph is here the adjacency is with respect to addition of the commutative. And in the year 2008, Anderson and Badawi, Journal of Algebra, once again, they introduced a graph called the total graph. Of course, please recall that zero divisor graph is introduced in 1988 by Ivan Beck. In 1992, Anderson modified the definition. Some 15 years later, this graph was constructed as a total graph. So R is a commutative ring. The total graph of R is denoted by T gamma of R. That gamma is always indicates there is a role of zero divisors in this. So T gamma of R, for which the vertex set is R, edge set is R. Two distinct vertices of R are adjacent, provided or if and only if X plus Y is an element of Z of R. Z of R is a set of all zero divisors. So in contrast to the adjacency relation in the case of zero divisor graphs, there xy equal to 0. Here we make two vertices as adjacent provided X plus Y is an element of a zero divisor set. Of course, in the notion of a Cayley sum graph, this total graph is nothing but Cayley plus R comma Z of R. Okay. As I mentioned, the multiplication in the case of T gamma of R, in the case of gamma of R, and addition in the case of T gamma of R. Okay, let me give an example of the total graph. You consider congruent modulo 4 classes, then the T gamma of Z4 is given below. Please look at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. They are the 4 elements, and you add these two. Of course, in this congruent modulo 4 classes, 0 and 2 are the zero divisors. 0 plus 2, 2, it is a zero divisor. 1 plus 3, 0, it is also a zero divisor. Therefore, the total graph of Z4 is 2 times K2 disjoint union of two complete graphs. So thereby it indicates that the total graph may be connected or may not be connected. In contrast to the property that zero divisor graph is always connected with the diameter less than or equal to 3, but in the case of total graph, maybe it is connected. And of course, you consider another example. Z6, the zero divisor set is 0 to 2, 3, 4. I have plotted all the elements here: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Please look at the edges. 0 plus 2, 2, 1 plus 3, 4, 3 plus 5, 8, modulo 6, 2, 5 plus 4, 9, modulo 6, 3. So the edges are created only through addition of elements. Addition of the vertices is an element of the zero divisor. Of course, in contrast to this example, here total graph is disconnected, whereas total graph of Z6 is connected. Of course, naturally, the immediate problem comes into the mind is what is a necessary and sufficient condition for the total graph to be connected. Of course, a hypothetical algebraic condition is available. Please look at the fact that here 0, 2 does not generate addition of this ring Z4, addition modulo 4, whereas this set of zero divisors generate additive group of this ring. Why? Very simple observation is what is 2 minus 3? 1. Once a generator is generator, all the elements could be generated. Therefore, whenever this zero divisor is generating set of the additive group, naturally that total graph becomes connected. So that is a necessary and sufficient condition. And of course, algebraically, it is not characterized. When the total zero divisors is a generating set for the additive group, it's still in a sense an open problem. Therefore, people may try otherwise when the total graph is connected, or the problem is more algorithmic, necessary and sufficient condition for the total graph to be connected. Okay, this is a first additive graph. Total graph is the one of the graph using addition. And there is a graph by name unit graph. Once again, Ashrafi et al., Communications and Algebra. You know, U of R is the set of all units of R. And you take R, the unit graph is denoted by G of R is equal to R, E. Thereby, vertex set is R, edge set is this way. Two distinct elements are adjacent, provided X plus Y is an element of U of R. Please look into the fact that in the case of total graph, X plus Y is an element of a zero divisor. Here, X plus Y is an element of the set of all units. Therefore, in the case of a finite ring, they are complement to each other. Yesterday, I have informed the fact that any finite ring, any finite commutative ring is a union of zero divisors and units. Thereby, if an element is a unit, it cannot be a zero divisor. If an element is a zero divisor, it cannot be a unit. Therefore, they are complementary in the sense that if R is a finite commutative ring, the unit graph is nothing but a complement of the total graph in terms of graph theoretical notations. And as I mentioned yesterday, this part of the graph theory is not confined only to finite graphs. Infinite rings are also considered for the construction of graphs from commutative rings. Of course, people are interested in observing properties which is applicable for finite and infinite case. not only the finite case. So in the case of a unit graph for integers, you please look at that. I have taken all integers 0, 1, -1, -2, 2, 3, -3, and so on. And you please note that what are the units in integers? 1 and -1. If you add 0 and 1, it is 1, it is a unit, an edge. 0 and -1, the same way. 2 plus -1, -3 plus 2, and so on. So the unit graph of ring of integers is an infinite path. Okay. Just now I was saying that this unit graph is nothing but Cayley's sum graph R with respect to units. When R is finite, U of R is nothing but R minus Z of R. Therefore, these three graphs, Cayley's sum graph, unit graph, complement of the total graph, they are one and the same when R is a finite commutative. So this itself is an indicator that how this behavior will be when R is infinite. That is a curious question. In general, Cayley of R comma U is called unitary Cayley graph. Of course, there is a paper in Electronic Journal of Combinatorics by Collatz and et al. They have studied unitary Cayley graphs. Of course, that was the first unitary Cayley graph construction from a commutative ring. And as I informed earlier, the Cayley graph, unitary Cayley graph, is not isomorphic to Cayley's sum graph. Okay, in the year 2008, Maimani et al., Communications and Algebra, they have defined a graph called comaximal graph. For a commutative ring R, comaximal graph is denoted by C of R, unit graph is G of R. This is a graph with the vertex set R, edge set is X and Y are adjacent provided X and Y are distinct and Rx plus Ry equal to R. Algebraically, what is Rx? Rx is the ideal generated by X in R. Ry is the ideal generated by Y in R. So if you sum these two ideals, it should give you R. So there X plus Y is a unit. Here Rx plus Ry equal to R. For example, you see congruent modulo 6 classes. You look at the comaximal graph. Please note that 1 is a unit. Therefore, this 1 is adjacent to everything. 1 plus 2, R into 1, R of course, therefore, which is full. Then these two, you please see. In the case of Z6, Z6 into 2 plus Z6 into 3, you will get all the elements. So this is a comaximal graph of Z6. Now let me have some observations regarding total unit comaximal. You consider the two graphs, one is unit, X plus Y is a unit. This is comaximal, Rx plus Ry is equal to R. Suppose I take, and both the graphs have got the same vertex set, namely R. There is no difference at all. Suppose I take an edge here, XY is an edge in unit graph. By definition, that is nothing but X plus Y is a unit. Okay. Thereby, U has got a multiplicative inverse. Let me multiply throughout by multiplicative inverse. U inverse X plus U inverse Y is equal to 1. Now for an arbitrary element of R, R in R, I can multiply throughout by R. This is R into U inverse of X plus R into U inverse of Y equal to R. Thereby, this becomes an element of Rx. This is an element of R, Ry, which is equal to R. Therefore, Rx plus Ry is equal to R. So please note that unit graph G of R, comaximal graph C of R, both have got vertex set R. Suppose there is an edge in this unit graph, it is also an edge in the comaximal graph. Thereby, this is a subgraph of this one. Okay. Now, as we have mentioned earlier, when R is finite, they are all one and the same. When R is infinite, we have visualized a difference between the complement of the total graph. X plus y is an element of regular. Here Rx plus Ry is equal to R. For example, you take integers. You take 2 and 4. Integers 2 and 4. 2 plus 4 is 6, which is not a zero divisor in integer. Therefore, 2 and 4 are adjacent in the complement of the total graph. Please a while note that adjacency in the total graph is x plus y must be a zero divisor. Naturally, when it is not a zero divisor, it is in the regular element. So in the complement, two elements are adjacent provided their sum is a regular element. 2 plus 4, 6 is a regular element in Z. Therefore, they are adjacent in T gamma of Z bar. Okay. What about 2Z plus 4Z? You know, all two even multiples, all four multiples. If you add these two elements, you will get only even multiples. You will not get an odd element 3 as a sum of a 2 multiple and 4 multiple. Therefore, they are not adjacent in CFZ. Please note that in the case of an infinite ring, these two are same vertex set, but a pair is adjacent in this complement, whereas it is not adjacent in unit comaximal graph. Okay. For the same Z, look into another pair 1 and minus 1. 1 into Z, Z. Minus 1 into Z, Z. It is not minus Z. It is also Z. Z plus Z is Z. Therefore, 1Z plus minus 1Z equal to Z. Thereby, they are adjacent in the comaximal graph, whereas 1 plus minus 1 is equal to 0. It is a zero divisor. They are adjacent in the total graph. They are not adjacent in the complement. So for an infinite ring of integers, T gamma of Z contains an edge which is not in comaximal. Comaximal contains an edge which is not in the complement. Therefore, neither of them is a subgraph of the other. So it makes some difference in the case of infinite when compared to finite case. Okay. So I have so far given some examples of graphs which are constructed through addition. More specifically, Cayley sum graph, Cayley graph, total graph, unit graph, comaximal graph. Of course, there are many others also. Because of the time constraint, just I would like to highlight the properties of the total graph. You please note that the study of total graphs naturally breaks into two cases for a commutative ring R. If R is a commutative ring and zero divisor set is an ideal of R, as in the case of Z9, the properties are one way. On the other hand, if you take a commutative ring and the zero divisor set is not an ideal of R, then the properties are something different. So that is considered by considering this as a vital classification criteria. Suppose Z of R is an ideal. Now, consider the induced subgraph of Z of R for this T gamma of R. T gamma of R is a graph with vertex set R. Zero divisors is a subset of R. Naturally, I can consider the induced subgraph. So induced subgraph means the elements are Z of R and the two elements are distinct provided their sum is a zero divisor. Of course, when Z of R is an ideal, the sum of every pair of elements is once again in Z of R. Therefore, the induced graph is complete. So in the case of Z of R is an ideal, the component of or the induced subgraph of R by Z of R is known. Thereby, one need to concentrate on the complementary part of the induced subgraph by regular elements. If we know the properties of induced subgraph of regular elements, automatically you know everything about the total graph. Thereby, of course, one must notice that if you take an element here and an element here, one element is a zero divisor, another element is a regular element. They don't, no way they are connected. X plus Y, it is not the case. Therefore, the subgraph induced by zero divisors and subgraph induced by regular, they are disjoint subgraphs of T gamma of R. That is why I was saying that once you study about the subgraph induced by regular elements, it will give everything about the total graph. Of course, Anderson Badawi, Journal of Algebra, you take a commutative ring and Z of R is an ideal, and let the cardinality of Z of R is equal to R, and cardinality of the cosets or the quotient ring is beta. Please note that I never assume that alpha and beta are finite. That's why I use the word cardinality. If 2 is an element of Z of R, then the subgraph induced by regular element is the disjoint union of beta minus 1 k alpha. K alpha is nothing but number of elements of the zero divisor set. What is 2? The question comes into the picture. Because in a ring there is no integer. 2 looks like integer. It is not an integer, because we consider a commutative ring R with identity 1. So 1 we denote identity. 1 plus 1 is an element of R. Thereby it is an element of the commutative ring, and it is denoted by 2. It is not integer 2. It is multiplicative identity of R plus the same thing. When 2 is not an element of Z of R, then the subgraph induced by regular elements is the disjoint union of beta minus 1 by 2 disjoint k alpha k alpha. Please note that in the case of 2 is an element of Z of R, it is complete subgraphs. Here, complete bipartite graphs. Of course, the cardinality of each of the part is alpha. Now, just I would like to give how this part of the graph theory takes the use of the vital algebraic property. Please look into Lagrange's theorem. What is Lagrange's theorem? If you take a subgroup of a finite group, the order divides order of the group. In the proof of that, you will express the finite group as the disjoint union of cosets of the finite subgroup. In the case of an ring, you take a ring, you take an ideal, take all additive cosets. This R is the disjoint union of additive cosets of that particular ideal. So there is an algebraic disjoint union. This R is the disjoint union of beta number of cosets. So we wanted to make use of this property R. When Z of R is an ideal, naturally this R is decomposed into cosets X plus Z of R. X is an element of R. So that algebraic property is graph theoretically, or it gives the tool for this fact. Okay. So what are the assumptions for this part? 2 is an element of Z of R, and Z of R is an ideal. Let me take an element X in regular. So X is not a zero divisor. Consider the coset X plus Z of R. So it is a coset, and which is disjoint from all other cosets, additive cosets. Let me take 2 elements here. One is X plus Z1, another one is X plus Z2. Thereby, Z1 and Z2 are elements of Z of R. You add these two, X plus Z1 plus X plus Z2, 2X plus Z1 plus Z2. Z1 and Z2 are elements of Z of R. Z of R is an ideal. Therefore, their sum is in Z of R. 2 is an element of Z of R. I can multiply by X. It is an ideal. 2X is an element. So this is an element of Z of R. This is an element of Z of R. Addition is once again because Z of R is an ideal. So you take a coset X plus Z of R I consider two arbitrary elements x plus z1 and x plus z2. Their sum is here. When sum of two elements in Z of R, they are adjacent in the total graph. Therefore, the subgraph induced by any arbitrary additive coset is a complete subgraph of the subgraph induced by regular elements. Okay, this is a fact for one coset. Similar for all other cosets. Ultimately, how many such complete subgraphs will be there? You please look into that. How many cosets we are having? By this assumption, we are having beta cosets, out of which one coset is Z of R, that is not taken because the subgroup induced is complete already. So remaining beta minus cosets are there. Therefore, each of the remaining beta minus 1 non-trivial cosets are each one induced one complete subgraph. Already Z of R is also inducing a complete graph. Therefore, they are inducing k complete subgraphs. Okay. Now, please note the fact that I am talking about the subgraphs induced by each of the cosets. Now, the question comes into the picture is, if you take one element from one coset, another element from another coset, what about the edge between them, whether it exists or not? Suppose I take one element y plus z1, which is an element of y plus z of r, another element x plus z of r. If they are adjacent, what will happen? Y and x are elements of regular, and z1 z2 are elements of zero divisors. So x plus y is equal to, because it is adjacent, it is an element of z of r. Z1 plus z2, you can put it on the other side. Therefore, x plus y is an element of z of r, and ultimately this means to say, you see, x plus y is an element of z of r. Now I come to x minus y. X minus y is equal to x plus y minus 2y. This is already an element of z of r. 2 is there, therefore 2y is there. Therefore, this is an element of z of r. What I have taken? I have taken one element y plus z1, another element y plus z2. They are elements of two cosets. Now, if they are adjacent in the total graph, their difference is in Z of R. Z of R is an ideal. You know, A minus B is an I, if and only if A plus I is equal to B plus I. Ultimately, these two cosets are one and the same. That is, all distinct elements of a particular coset are adjacent. If you take one element in one coset, another element in another coset, if they are adjacent, the cosets are one and the same. When I take two distinct cosets, naturally they cannot be adjacent. That means to say the claim is proved. The regular graph induced by regular graph, sorry, the subgraph induced by regular element is the disjoint union of beta minus 1 complete subgraphs. Thereby, by taking 1 k alpha induced by Z of R, this total graph is the union of beta k alpha. It is in the case of 2 is an element of Z of R, Z of R is an ideal. When I take 2 is not an element of Z of R, however, Z of R is an ideal. Now, what is my claim? Please look into the statement. In the case of this, subgraph induced by Z of R is complete, whereas subgraph induced by regular elements is the disjoint union of beta minus 1 disjoint k alpha alpha, complete by Potter graphs. And perhaps one must infer, or one must imagine, whenever this alpha is coming into the place, it is representing the number of elements in the coset. Okay, I take x is an element of regular. Suppose x plus is z1 and x plus is z2, they are adjacent. What will happen? Their sum is a zero divisor. So z1, z2 are elements of Z of R. I can put it on the other side. 2x is an element of Z of R. Here 2 is not there, x is not there. You please note that in the beginning I told you, whenever Z of R is an ideal, It is a union of prime ideals. Thereby, it is a single ideal. It is not only ideal, it is a prime ideal. 2x is in Z of R. Either 2 must be in Z of R, either x must be in Z of R, but both of them are not there. Therefore, a pair of elements of one coset are not adjacent. So please note that if I take one particular coset, no pair is adjacent. Whereas I take two cosets. One is x plus Z of R, another one is minus x plus Z of R. One is x plus Z of R, another one is minus x plus Z of R. And you take an element here, x plus Z1, minus x plus Z1, x and minus x gets cancelled, Z1 plus Z2 will be there. Therefore, this is one part of the complete bipartite graph. This is another part of the complete bipartite graph. Therefore, union of a pair of disjoint cosets induce a complete bipartite graph. Thereby, not one coset induces a complete subgraph, a pair. So x1 plus Z of R minus x1 plus Z of R, x2 plus Z of R minus x2 plus Z of R. So the set of all cosets are paired by x and minus x. Therefore, it is beta minus 1 by 2. Ultimately, it is a union of complete bipartite graphs. Thereby, the structure of the total graph is well known. In the case of Z of R is an ideal. Of course, this particular structure helped us to prove a number of properties, graph theoretical properties. We have ethically studied about this total graph. Almost we could publish about 20 papers on this particular one definition by Anderson and Badab. Of course, what about the remaining case? Remaining cases is that the R is not an ideal because it is not closed with respect to, it is closed with respect to multiplication, but it is not closed with respect to addition. Thereby, what does it mean? There exists a pair of elements x or y in Z of R such that their sum is an element of regular. It is in the complement. That means to say, in this case, this is always connected and they are not disjoint subgraphs. Hello? I think some audio disturbance is there. Somebody is talking. So please mute yourself if possible. Therefore, in the case of Z of R is not an ideal. The subgraph by induced Z of R is connected. It is not disjoint from regular of elements. So the structure is not so comfortable as in the case of Z of R is an ideal. Of course, it is shown that T gamma of R is connected when the induced subgraph induced by regular elements is connected. Of course, as I said in the beginning, still the problem is open. Only a few non-algorithmic properties are obtained. Necessary and sufficient conditions could be obtained. Okay. So these are the properties about total graph when Z of R is not an ideal. You please see that the total graph, these are all, that is a diameter of the induced subgraph is 2. They are not, the two induced subgraph are not disjoint. Whenever this part is connected, this T gamma of R is connected because there is a pair of edges for which the adjacency lies in the regular. Therefore, this is the case. Of course, as I said in the beginning, T gamma of R is connected if and only if this R plus is generated by the set of all zero divised sets of R. Of course, in that case, the diameter of the total graph is n. Please note that in contrast to the zero divisor graph, the total graph diameter is large. Of course, there are some properties given any n, I can construct a commutative ring for which the diameter of the total graph is n. Okay, in this case, there are several people who have studied about various properties of total graph of a commutative ring. Of course, Akbari et al., Journal of Algebra and Applications, they have studied Eulerian and Hamiltonian nature of total graphs. The chromatic number and clique number of the total graph were studied by, once again, Akbari et al. And Alipour et al. And of course, the clique number and number of clique number of the complement of the total graph is studied by Maimani et al., Rocky Mountain Journal of Mathematics. Asir and myself, my own student Asir and myself, we have studied about domination, gamma set, intersection graph of gamma sets in total graphs. Of course, that paper appeared in Communications and Algebra. Apart from these graph theoretical properties, as I mentioned yesterday, the genus, non-planar, toroidal, all these properties were studied by Maimani. Maimani characterized all commutative rings for which the total graph of genus either 0 or 1. That means the total graph is either planar or toroidal. A graph is toroid if its genus is 1. In continuation of that, we have characterized all finite commutative rings such for which the total graph is of genus 2. Of course, thereafter the problem is still open. Can you characterize all finite commutative rings for which the total graph is of genus 3 or more? It's a complicated issue, but still the problem is open. One of the difficulties is how to draw a non-planar embedding in a surface. That itself is a very great task. Of course, there are some standard way of drawing an embedding in a paper which is a toroidal. Therefore, something like this toroid. So, a graph with genus 3, how to draw it, how to represent the embedding, that's a difficult task. Because of that, that problem remains open. Just to highlight some of the properties of this total graph. Participants, please recall that the domination number of the zero divisor graph is nothing but, or more specifically, in the case of Zn, congruent modulo n classes, the domination number of the zero divisor graph on Zn is nothing but number of distinct prime factors of n. But in the case of total graph, it is diametrically opposite. Suppose n is a composite number, then T gamma of R is regular if and only if n is even. And in general, in fact, in that case, the degree of any vertex is nothing but n minus p of n minus 1, Euler free function. And in general, when n is odd, the graph is biregular. Biregular means the minimum degree and the maximum degree, they just differ by 1. So with this, we have proved that T gamma of Zn is not Eulerian, because in the odd case, complement is Eulerian if and only if n is even. Of course, this paper appeared in Discrete Mathematics Algorithms and Applications by World Scientific. If n is a composite number, then T gamma of Zn is planar if and only if n is less than or equal to 8. For more than 8, the genus definitely exceeds 1. And please note that this is the vital property which we could observe. If n is a composite number and p1 is the smallest prime divisor of n, then domination number of the T gamma of Zn is p1. And not only we have obtained the domination number, and we have obtained all gamma sets, as in the case of zero divisor graph. Let n be a composite number, let p1 be the smallest prime divisor of n, and g is equal to T gamma of n. Any set of this format, x1, x2, etc., xp1, because p1 is the domination number, is a gamma set if and only if which enjoys this property, or in other words, I have to pick up elements from the cosets in such a way that this is not an element of S. And through this, we have obtained all gamma sets of this T gamma of Zn. Ultimately, We have studied the intersection graph also. And not only the domination number, the total domination for this T gamma of Zn is also obtained, which varies in 3 cases, which is 4 when n is equal to 2 power k, which is equal to p plus 1, n is equal to p power k, n is a prime power. It is equal to p1 when n is a composite number, and it is a product of more than 1 primes. And of course, this is the property which made us or which enables us to extend the properties of the total graph through direct product. Suppose R1, R2, R2 commutative rings, then domination of the total graph of the direct product of R1, R2, this is the direct product of commutative rings. One hand, algebraic direct product. On the other hand, I can have individually T gamma of R1. This is a total graph of R1. This is a total graph of R2. Naturally, there are so many products, graph products. This is a Cartesian product of these two and its domination number. And we have proved that domination number of the total graph of the direct product of commutative rings is less than or equal to domination number of the Cartesian product of the individual total graphs. So, which is the, of course, still our problem is how best this can be used to attack Ising conjecture with respect to domination. But in some cases it is not true, we know, but in general there are some certain complications. Okay, this, when I say the domination number of the Zn in the previous slide, naturally one has to go for a general commutative ring. If R is a commutative ring with identity, then I is a maximum annihilator ideal of R, and the quotient ring contains only finitely many cosets, then the domination number lies between 2 and mu. Please note that this is the number of cosets of the maximum annihilator ideal of R. You know, annihilator ideal means ANN of A. So naturally, we know the bound, lower bound and upper bound. So automatically the question comes into the picture is, when it is equal to in the lower, when it is equal to upper, are the bounds sharp, and so on and so forth. Yes, we have given examples to see that both the bounds are sharp. So there is a commutative ring which is Z3 times Z4. I is the maximum annihilator ideal for which domination number is 2. R is equal to Z35. I is the maximum annihilator ideal for which domination number is mu. So both cases are attainable, and naturally the question is what it is exactly if possible. Of course, we have observed that because I wanted to, we have proved that when it is actual to mu, in fact, we have attained we could obtain a classes of graphs for which given number is this. For example, when n is a composite number which is equal to p, that is mu. In the case of Zn of xy by x power k, xy, y power k, which is again the same category of right hand side. In the case of some k integral domains, this property is 2. In the case of a infinite commutative ring, direct product of Zn times z, integers, etc., which is also on the right hand side. So these are the classes of graphs for which the bound on the right hand side is actually attained. So with this, we have got a conjecture. It is posted by us in Communications and Algebra 2014. Still it is open. We could prove that this conjecture is true for finite Artinian commutative rings. Of course, finite, local, Artinian commutative rings. So this conjecture is open for an infinite non-Artinian commutative ring. Let R be a commutative ring with identity, which is not Artinian, and Z of R is not an ideal. I told you, when Z of R is an ideal, the graph is very beautifully structured. It has got a very beautiful structure. Thereby, everything could be studied. So Z of R is not an ideal. IIs are the maximum annihilator ideals of R. If R by II is finite for some I, then you collect all those finite, all those maximal annihilator ideals for which the quotient ring contains finitely many cosets. Then gamma of T gamma of R is equal to minimum of the number of cosets R by II. II is a maximal annihilator. The minimum is taken over all possibilities, but still the conjecture is not proved. And of course, we have got some examples of polynomial rings where this conjecture happens to be true. So that forces us to propose this. Still, it is open for the people to try with greater efforts. Okay. And of course, as I said, all gamma sets are characterized, and thereby we have obtained, and thereafter we have obtained this domination, total domination, connected domination. And here again, a specific observation. In the case of zero divisor graphs, in the case of total graphs, these numbers, domination, total, connected, all of them happen to be equal. So once again, the graphs from commutative rings, they behave peculiarly. Some of the parameters in the fundamental domination chain happen to be equal. And of course, we have further obtained that this total domination number of total graph is nothing but this. We take when it is an ideal, it is on the other part. Then complement, private domination, complement, double domination, independent domination. Okay, these are some of them to highlight. We could do it for this, for the total graph, the property of domination. As I mentioned earlier, Maimini et al. 2012, Rocky Mountain Journal of Mathematics. R is a commutative ring. T gamma of R planar. Then R is one among the following. Of course, you see there are only 9 rings in the case of local. In the case of non-local, it is there are only 2 rings. So when this is planar, R is one of the 11 cases only. And of course, one part is very easy. If you take R is one of these 11, and you can construct the total graph, and you can draw the embedding, and you can see that it is planar. But converse part is really a tough part of the game. To prove the converse, the people are effectively using some of the bounds with respect to genus for the general graphs. They are effectively used. Of course, in the same paper, they have proved when it is toroidal. Toroidal means genus 1. In the case of local, it is either of the 2. In the case of non-local, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of this. So completely they have characterized. Of course, what happens in that case is I have to tell the fact. They published the paper, it was accepted, and they have paid some money for put the paper in the open domain. Thereby, the journal has put it in the open domain, even before publication. And we have got the paper. So it was only online at that time. We have immediately worked on that. We could publish that the 2 case when R is a commutative ring, then the genus of T gamma of R is equal to 2, if and only if R is isomorphic to only 2 rings. One is Z10, another one is Z3 times F4, the finite field of 4 elements. Of course, the finite field of 4 elements is the additive group is Killin's 4 group, and the multiplication is the cubic roots of unity. And unless it is put up in the open domain, we may not be able to get the paper and immediately work on this particular problem. Of course, now we have got a very good interaction. Maimini has become one of the collaborator of us. We are doing some work in the recent developments regarding another fact. Of course, further research has been done in this total graph. Having identified gamma sets, we have constructed the intersection graph of gamma sets. Several properties of intersection graph were obtained. Of course, these properties include planar, Hamilton, Eulerian, genus. Of course, these properties, they have been published as two papers, each one about 30 pages. Both of them appeared in Journal of Algebra and Applications in the same volume. So it is also a worthwhile contribution for that total graph. So of course, there are several other studies. I cannot list out everything. It's not an exhaustive list of the study made on total graphs. Now this total graph is once again generalized total graph, for which the concept of multiplicative prime subset is being introduced. A subset H of a commutative ring is said to be multiplicatively prime subset if it satisfies two conditions. One is it is closed with respect to multiplication. For every pair of AB must be there, and the other one is primality condition. If AB is an element of H, for two elements A and B of R, then either A must be there or B must be there. So please note that any prime ideal is a multiplicative prime subset. Not only one prime ideal, union of prime ideals is a multiplicative prime subset. Not only union of prime ideals, zero divisors is a multiplicative prime subset. Its complement, this is R minus U of R regular elements, is also multiplicative prime subset. So once again, Maimoni et al., Anderson Badavi, using the concept of multiplicative prime subset, they have introduced a graph called generalized total graph. So you take R is a commutative ring, H is a multiplicative prime subset of R, then the total generalized total graph is denoted by GTH of R, generalized total with respect to multiplicative prime subset H of R. It's a simple graph, undirected, with vertex at R, and two distinct elements are adjacent, provided X plus Y in H. Literally, what is the difference between total and generalized total? In the case of total, you take Z of R. In the case of generalized total, we take a multiplicative prime subset. So since zero divisors is a multiplicative prime subset, total graph are elements of this class of generalized total graphs. Of course, as in the case of total graphs, this again divide the study of generalized total graph again divided into two cases where H is a prime ideal and H is not an ideal. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, again a characterization is being done in terms of the cosets of multiplicative prime subset, which is a prime ideal. So you see, literally the theorem is one and the same. Just H is replaced by Z of R. Sorry, Z of R is replaced by H. Literally the same proof. Everything is same, but beautifully generalized. And of course, Anderson Badavi in 2016, it is a paper published in Journal of Algebra and Applications. If H is a prime ideal, then the generalized total graph of the complement set is complete if and only if is obtained, connected if and only is obtained, and it is totally disconnected if and only is obtained. So naturally, when a graph of this kind is being introduced, the first attention of the people is whether it is connected, what about the diameter, what about the creep. Of course, I can be transparent that thereafter they will not continue. The people who have got good knowledge about graph theory can continue further. So that is why this domain needs a good knowledge about algebra and graph theory. Of course, diameter is obtained for the total graph. diameter of the total graph is either 0, 1, 2 or infinity. And grid is obtained. Grid is either 3, 4 or infinity. In the case of the complement, this is if it contains a cycle, then it is less than or equal to 4. Of course, several properties are obtained by Anderson-Badawi in similar to the properties of the total graph. Okay. Another beautiful generalization has took place in 2012. Kayermanash et al. Acta Mathematica Angelica. They have beautifully designed one graph. R is a commutative ring. U of R is the multiplicative group of units of R. G is a multiplicative subgroup of U of R. Let me take a subset S of G, which is symmetric with respect to multiplication. Please note that R, multiplicative subgroup U of R, its subgroup G, a subset of G, which is symmetric with respect to multiplication. Symmetric means S is equal to S inverse, which is nothing but inverses are also there. So here there are three inputs. One is R, another one is G, another one is S. They have designed a graph called or denoted by gamma. The input is RGS, for which the vertex set is R. Two distinct elements X and Y are adjacent, provided X plus Sy is an element of G for some S in S. Please look at carefully. R is a commutative ring. G is a subgroup of a multiplicative group of units. S is a symmetric subset of G. Vertex set is R. Two distinct elements are adjacent, provided X plus Sy is an element of G. Okay. And of course, they could not give a name for this graph because this class includes several standard graphs into it. So, having introduced this, they obtain necessary and sufficient condition when this graph is complete, when it is planar, when R is a Artinian ring, infinite case also. And of course, we have obtained in 2014 all commutative Artinian rings for which this graph has got genus 1 or 2, which has appeared in Acta Mathematica Angelica. And Nagipour et al. In 2016, Korean Mathematical Society, Journal of Korean Mathematical Society, they have studied about the particular class gamma is equal to gamma RUU. Instead of taking a subgroup, take the full group. Instead of taking a subset, take U as S. So they have studied about gamma RUU. Of course, they are very excellent properties. They obtain necessary and sufficient condition for this gamma to be Hamiltonian, as well as it contains a perfect matching. Of course, Anu Kumar and myself, we started about this gamma RU, and we have done a very exhaustive study on this particular class. Of course, this paper is appeared in Journal of Algebra and Applications. Still, it is in the online mode only. It has not officially published. Let R be the direct product of finite local rings. Of course, when you take finite, it is Artinian. The Artinian structure theorem ensures that it is a direct product of finite local rings Ri, Mi. So Mi is a maximal ideal of Ri. R by Mi is a field. So naturally, the number of elements in this R by Mi plays a vital role in identifying structures for this gamma RUU. We have proved that gamma, that is gamma RUU, is the 2 power t minus 1 disjoint complete bipartite graphs. Cardinality is cardinality of R by 2 power t, where t is nothing but number of number of Artinian local rings for which the corresponding field is 2, Z2. So number of elements in this 2 means it is Z2. How many of them Z2, that is T, in terms of the T, we have proved that. Of course, the proof is little bit involved. It's not easy as in the case of others. Of course, we have proved when it is connected, gamma or UU is connected if and only if it satisfies either of the following conditions. There exists at least, for every I, this quotient field is greater than, containing more than 2 elements. When R is equal to R1, it is a finite local ring, and the quotient field is 2, the graph is connected. When the first component field is 2 and all other components field is greater than 2, also it is connected. So we have completely characterized when gamma or UU is connected. Of course, it is a characterization for gamma is Eulerian. The cases are cardinality of R must be odd, R is equal to R1, finite local ring with the quotient field is Z2. Of course, number of elements in this, this alpha is the exponent of the 2 to the power alpha 1 is the cardinality of this R1. And R is equal to R1 cross RK, and this component satisfies this property. And in either of the following cases, gamma is Eulerian. So please look into the last case. First component quotient field is Z2. The exponent is 1. For all other components, the quotient field contains at least 2 elements. And these are the conditions and in which this is Eulerian. When it is unicyclic, when it is split, split means one part clique, another part independent set. Each element of the clique is adjacent with the elements in the independent set. When it is claw free, so these things are attained. And of course, we have proved one of the wonderful property for this class is it's weakly perfect. When it is perfect, so these are the some of the properties we have proved for that. Of course, these results have been published in Journal of Algebra and Applications, Worcester Journal of Mathematics. Still, it is in the accepted stage. Indian Journal of Pure and Applied Mathematics, and of course, these are the things. Both of them are going to. All these 3 papers are going to appear only in 2020. Still, proof is work. Still, they are under the stage of online availability. Of course, another candidate, Balamurugan and myself, we have studied something about generalized total graph of Zn with respect to a prime ideal. Of course, this paper appeared in Philomate, just the last month issue. And this appeared in Journal of Analysis. This has appeared in AKC Journal of International Journal of Graphs and Combinatorics. Just it is in the online because it has moved to Taylor and Francis. Okay. So these are the something to say about what are the things from our side for this classes of graphs. Of course, it's my, for the sake of audience, I would like to tell that this Kayarmanash gamma, it includes several graphs in its fold. Of course, some of them to mention are total graphs come into this class, Cayley sum graph come into this class, Cayley graph come into this class, then complement of the total graph come into this class. So this gamma includes all these things in one stroke in this. Of course, people have studied the interrelationship using this gamma also. So I think I will put up some of the references. I think only 5 more minutes are there. So let me put up the references. Maimoni et al. These are some of the papers of our own group. I think I can stop at this stage.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, you stopped in the correct time.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Okay. So now this is session for question and answer. Participants can ask or put their queries in the inbox. Dear participants, please ask questions. We have only limited time, so please ask questions.
Somebody asked, no, already I answered that ZFR is not closed under addition. Somebody asked the question once again. Somebody wanted to have the accesses of all the papers. I think ResearchGate is one of the source, but all of them appeared in standard journals. They are not open access. After some time only, after 3 years, everything will be open access. I hope.
Sir, someone is online. Jinsi,
Yeah,
ma'am, please. Sorry, I think this is wrongly.
Yeah, wrongly.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
Some KC Rajashekhar is asking that do all the papers mentioned are accessible?
That's what I said. It's not accessible, but
Okay.
it's not in the open access. For example, Journal of Algebra and Applications, you cannot have it.
Okay.
Houston, again, there only after 3 years of time, you will get it. Someone put up a total graph, apply Noetherian. And please note that the thing is that the zero divisor set of Artinian is known, not on the Noetherian. Of course, some of the properties of zero divisor graph of Noetherian rings are studied, but in the case of other graphs, zero divisors, what are the zero divisors is the main question. Thereby, it is necessary to apply to the class wherein the zero divisors are known. So thereby, Noetherian is not considered.
Sir, Sumit is raised her hand. Ma'am,
Yeah,
please. Hello, ma'am. Hello. I think there is some problem. Sir, next one is Lawrence Raj.
Lawrence Raj. Once again, the same question, Roman domination, it is not studied.
Hello.
Lawrence Raj. Bhuvaneshwari.
Bhuvaneshwari is also asking.
But their audio is muted. Are they allowed?
Okay, okay.
Now only Bhuvaneshwari is allowed to ask.
Okay.
Sir, what are the applications of algebra and graph theory, sir? What are the real life applications?
Very general question. There are so much of applications from algebra to graph theory to algebra. Once again, the word application has got suitable meaning where you apply. So there are, each one has got its own contribution to the other. You see, the graph theory was a geometry of algebra and chemistry. It started with this, you know.
Yes,
So the mutual tool is applied. The tool of graph theory is applied in algebra and vice versa. Definitely they are having interlinks.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Kisha
Next one
ma'am.
is Lawrence Raj.
Sumiti, Lawrence Raj, please.
Hello, sir. I am Lawrence.
Yeah, please.
So there is a possible graph labeling in a total graph of community.
Yeah, I think one paper has appeared, but I am not aware of it. One of the problem is this.
Yes, sir.
If you want the labeling of a graph, you know how many vertices it contains, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Certainly, sir.
But for a total graph, how many vertices? It is cardinality of R only.
Yes, sir.
Except that you don't know anything.
Certainly, sir. Certainly.
So the input parameter is not as in the case of general graph. You talk with G is a graph with n vertices, thereby you will go. Here itself, it's not a determined number.
Yes, certainly, sir. Certainly, sir.
It is a varied number. So the problem is the labeling problems. Because of that, they are not well attended for these classes of graphs. But however possible.
Thank you, sir.
If you are interested, you contact me. I will give you some idea.
Okay, thanks, sir. I will contact through email, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next one is Sumiti.
Yeah. No, Sumiti is not allowed for audio.
Okay, wait.
Sumiti, you allow audio, please.
Allowed, but she's not.
Can we do it? Can I do it? Oh, Sumiti, audio is not allowed. Komati, it's muted. Sumiti, you allow first and then go for Gomati.
Okay, okay. No, sir. Then Megha is there.
Whether she is.
Yes, sir.
Allow somebody else.
Shanti is asking about commutative.
Madam?
Megha is online, sir. Ma'am, please. Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
Please.
Hello. Hello, sir.
You are?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Please tell your name.
I want to know about the metric dimension of total graph. Any paper about it? Metric dimension
You see,
of
yesterday
total
itself, someone asked about metric dimension. Metric dimension of zero divisor graph is studied. Metric dimension of total graph is not yet studied.
Thanks,
It is open. Of course, metric dimension has the cardinality of the resolving set or something, but it is still open.
Okay, sir.
Someone asked about line graphs. Of course, yes, there are papers on line graphs of zero divisor graphs and total graphs. If you are interested, you please give a mail. I will send the papers. Line graphs are also studied.
Sir, Shanti ma'am is asking about commutative can be applied for other domination parameter.
Pardon? I don't know. What is the question?
Commutative ring can be applied for any other domination parameter.
No, the question is not very clear. You please ask her. You connect her or no?
No, this is in chat box.
Commutative ring. No, commutative ring is applied means what is that? What she wanted to have? Other domination parameter for total graph or other classes of graphs? You possible connect her or?
I think this is in box.
Okay. No, I'm not getting to the question.
Okay.
I could really. I don't understand the question well.
Someone asking about difference between zero divisor graph and total graph.
That is what I have been emphasizing. Zero divisors are constructed through multiplication. This is constructed through addition. Structurally, they are entirely different. Very, very in particular, total graphs are well studied. Their structure is known in half of the case. But zero divisor graph is, it is not structured, wide open.
Okay. And sir, next question is total domination and open domination are one and the same. Is it both are same? Someone
Open
is asking.
domination. I don't mean what is open domination. Total domination means is only one vertex is adjacent in the dominating set.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, next question. Can you please tell the real life application of calligraph?
No, it is a very very fundamental thing that it has started with an application of parallel computing.
Okay, sir.
It is a construction for a real life problem. The
Sir,
calligraphs
Mr.
are used as routing networks in parallel computers.
Okay, sir. Vignesh is asking, what can we say about the line graph, subdivision graph of the zero divisor graphs and calligraphs?
No, they are well studied. I am not just like that narrate what are the properties. Line graphs of zero divisor graphs are studied, especially in the case of the finite congruent modulo n classes.
Okay, sir. And
Someone
Mr. Rojan is asking about, can we relate Galois group with the graph?
No, I don't have any idea at present. Galois group is something different. There are graphs from groups, but of course, one clue is there are graphs constructions from characters of finite groups. Recently, there may be a possibility of reaching Galois group through that characters, but I am not very sure about. Someone wanted to have about Lie groups. No, Lie groups, they are non-associative operation. It is very complicated. Lie groups, they are not associative with respect to addition. Something different.
Okay, sir.
Patrick, someone, Patrick. Yeah. Well, Patrick and Sumi. First, Sumi.
Sumi.
Because she has been in the line quite some time.
Yeah, yes, sir. Unmuted, but she's not accepted. That's a problem.
But she is put up the symbol of raising hands.
Yeah.
Now she is in the. Okay, you put Patrick. Hello, Patrick.
Yes.
No, he is also not there. I think they put up the hands and then they are not. What someone wanted to have, what is that? Problems in generalization of total graphs. No, you see, how can we just like that narrate something without any information? If you are more specific, you contact me. I'll put up.
Okay, sir. Two of my students doing their research in edge metric dimension and vertex metric dimension.
Oh,
so, okay, sir.
But there is a paper recently appeared in zero divisor graph, metric dimension of zero divisor graphs.
Sir, can we connect with the lane metric dimension with the edge metric dimension with this zero divisor?
Still the vertex metric dimension only they have concentrated.
Okay.
They have not gone to the edge metric.
Okay, sir. Then what about the case of total graph?
Total graph, it's not at all touched.
Okay.
Still, it's wide open.
This is an okay, sir.
You
Someone is online.
Yeah, you please come to correspond with me. I will give you very detailed description of the problem. Definitely.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, rightly put up by Selva Kumar. There is audience in the Selva Kumar, my own colleague. Yeah.
Okay.
Metric dimension is Pesarda and Redman.
Hello, sir.
Please. May I know who is speaking?
I'm Fiona Christie. I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Using Gaussian results, we can represent the group of UN as the direct product of its subgroups.
Fine.
Similarly, if we can represent the group of UN as the direct product of the graph of their corresponding subgroups.
No, what is this? Now, when you take a subgroup, what is the graph under consideration? You take a unit group, you express that as a direct product of some subgroups or groups.
Yes.
No, you please come. Yeah, what is your question? Can you repeat? Please repeat the question.
Using GAN.
You wanted to have the
using
relationship
Gaussian
between the Kelly graph of the unit and direct product of the Kelly graphs of the components. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
In what perception? My slide has exhibited a domination property of the direct product of the commutative rings and the domination of the Cartesian product of the individual graphs. You see, I have not talked about the structure of the graphs. It was only domination. Of course, there is an isomorphism, that's something different. So first of all, you decide what is a graph for the construction of the whole group, and how are you combine the individual graphs, whether with the Cartesian product or with the Wreath product or with the tensor product. There are so many products, but one can do something on that, provided that isomorphism works.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello?
I think she got the idea.
Okay.
Sir, next, someone is asking about Misliskian graph of zero divisor graph.
What? Nothing is known about. You have to contact Francis Raj, or you have to start the study. Mikilskian of zero divisor graphs. But the problem is, I think Mikilskian, when the edge set is known, it is a graph with the vertex set union edge set and then construction, if I am correct. But the edge set of the zero divisor graph, at least some finite case, somebody can try.
Okay, somebody is asking about can she mail to you to get papers related to Cayley's
Letter.
Okay.
Yeah. What is the question?
Next one is
Papers, okay, but just like that, don't say that you give me all the papers in zero divisor graphs. That's all, because they are very huge number.
Yeah.
Please specify the problem. We will help you in all regard. It's not a problem.
Okay, sir. And the next one is from Radha madam. She's asking about, can you give the guidance on labeling of zero divisor graph?
Yes, of course. You please correspond with me, either through email or
please.
through.
Okay.
Yeah, please. We will give whatever expertise we know, and we will communicate to you.
The questions are repeating again. The same asking about the association with total graph and zero divisor graph. I think you already gave some answer.
Number of times repeatedly I informed that, because
Okay.
it is very difficult to follow, I know, but even then, that is why I emphasize. One is with respect to multiplication, another one is with respect to addition. They are nowhere related.
Okay, sir. Somebody is asking mail ID. Sure, we will put in the chat box.
Yeah.
Hello, participants. We have only limited time. If you have any query, please ask it now. We are going to close our session. Okay, sir. Thank you for 2 sessions. I think you did it very well. And the responses is like that. Everyone is enjoyed a lot, and the 2 sessions are very informative, all related to a bundle of results and papers related to zero divisor graphs and total graphs. I think I also get some loop how to go, how to guide my students in further. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your presentation and this 2 sections.
So before closing formally, let me thank the authorities and the organizers for this nice international webinar. So this is my 4th session in these webinars. Of course, a lot of things are being arranged with the technology. I hope that people can get benefit out of such programs. So thank you,
Okay.
especially Dr. Sagita.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And dear participants, I also inform that our next session will start at 2 p.m. Sharp 2 p.m. Please be online, and the link is already provided to your mail and our Telegram group, and also it is put in the inbox. Please check it. Okay. Thank you. See you soon. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We
Let
will
me
meet
leave.
at 2 o'clock.
Thank you. Thank you.
Participants, you may leave.